Hey YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel web for all things geeky and cool. Welcome back guys to the channel for another action figure review. We did a DC review about a week ago for this bad boy right here, the DC Essentials Hal Jordan figure right here in the 7-inch scale. Great figure. If you have not watched this figure here, I'll put a link above the channel right here. Click the eye above my head to watch that video after this video. This is from DC's Essentials in the 7-inch scale. The companion piece to that figure is Sinestro from DC's Essentials again, this time the Yellow Lantern Sinestro figure. First name, of course, was Thal. That's his first name if you didn't know that from the comics. Part of the DC Collectibles series right here, direct from the source. This is, of course, in the 7-inch scale. Now, why they changed the name from DC Direct to DC's Essentials, I mentioned in the last video, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know why they switched it from DC Direct to DC Essentials, and sometime this year, it's going to go back to DC Direct. Why I decided to change this name, I don't know. I said in the last video the same thing. Maybe it was because they got better branding, a better footprint, better marketing when it came to DC Direct's name. Maybe it has something to do with trademark or copyright. Maybe they have a different publishing house who makes these figures or develops these figures and wanted to switch back to DC Direct. Again, I don't know, maybe this name lapsed, which could be a possibility as well. So we look at this figure as a whole. We're going to do a full breakdown of this character. We'll look at the packaging, we'll look at the paint, the articulation, and conclude final thoughts for you, the viewer. Should you spend the money and pick up the DC Essentials Yellow Lantern Sinestro in the 7-inch scale, part of the DC Collectibles line? Stay tuned, guys. Going to a breakdown. All right, guys, we're in a breakdown segment looking at the DC Essential Yellow Lantern Sinestro 7-inch figure from the DC Collectible wave. And the very first thing we do in a breakdown segment is look at the packaging and presentation. Really cool window box display for the figure. You see him within right here. Very, very easy to spot the figure on a shelf. Looks really, really good. You can see a backdrop of the figures that are available in that particular wave. Sort of a image in the back of the figure, sort of grayed out like a grayscale figure of all the figures available in the wave. So at the top here we have DC Essential Yellow Lantern Sinestro right there. Again, window box display. DC Collectibles right there. It does say direct from the source. Over here we have the DC symbol right there. We have number 20, that's in the 20th figure that has come out for this particular wave of figures. Over here we have a nice shot of Sinestro. It's got a maniacal look on his face. It does say Yellow Lantern Sinestro. I'm assuming it's copyright, why they did Yellow Lantern Sinestro and not Sinestro itself. Normally they don't call him Yellow Lantern Sinestro, just like they usually don't. Sometimes they call Green Lantern Hal Jordan, just because that's the branding for the character and the sort of trademark copyright name of that character. On the back of the packaging here, a little write-up of Sinestro about right there about the figure. Really cool pose of the figure right there and all the figures that are available in this particular wave. Again, really cool packaging. Let's get this guy out of packaging and continue the breakdown segment. Okay guys, before we take a look at the figure, I want to show you that backdrop on the inside of the packaging right here. As I mentioned before, it's sort of a grayscale of all the figures in this particular wave. Once you see it, before we jumped into the figure, I thought it'd be kind of cool to show you what the backdrop one looks like. Looks pretty cool. Alright guys, we have our DC Essential 7-inch Yellow Lantern Sinestro figure out of packaging. And the very first thing we do to take a figure out of packaging is look at the paint and articulation. Right off the bat, we have to pump the brakes right now. Put the brakes on. Because the way you see this figure right now is not the way he's represented when you hold him in your hands. What I mean by that is he looks very, very yellow, bright yellow, which is what you would think he would look like from the comics, from the Sinestro Corps comics where he got this suit from. He doesn't look like this when you hold him in the flesh. He's more of an orangey, coppery color than he is bright yellow like this. This is how you would think he would look like, but it's not the way he's represented in figure form off camera. Very, very weird way he's coming across this yellow to me. I don't know why. I'm not colorblind. He just comes across very, very weird in color. Now, there's a lot of positives for this figure, much like the Green Lantern Hal Jordan figure right here. Great figure with a lot of positives and negatives, which we'll talk about when we talk about Sinestro here. Of course, the coolest thing is that head sculpt. Really cool looking head sculpt of Sinestro. One of the better head sculpts. The eyes are painted in. Great detail on that face. He looks menacing. He looks great. Great villain Sinestro. Looks really, really good. He's in, of course, the Sinestro Corps outfit, the yellow and black through the entire figure, which it should be yellow and black, not copper and black. But this is the way you think it would look like with the nice Sinestro Corps logo right there. Let's talk about that neck. Again, big negative. If you looked at, of course, the Hal Jordan right here, huge neck, but maybe not as bad as Sinestro. It's not as high as a Sinestro figure. So this one's a little bit, Sinestro right here is a little bit better than the Hal Jordan right here. It's still a high neck joint, but not as bad. Again, cool color, good representation. Again, 7-inch scale, not a big fan, used to the 6-inch scale, but you know what? It's okay. If you have a lot of the 6-inch figures from DC Collectibles, and Mattel, it may throw things off a little bit just because the scale's out of whack. If you try to put this figure next to them, it might not work right for you. But let's take a look at the full figure here as far as its articulation goes. This thing is packed with articulation, so let's really break it down right now. Head, again, talking about the head, spins 360. It can hinge up and down a little bit. I don't want to force this joint a lot. Again, great detailing on the head. Arms can go out to a T. You get about that much range of motion without forcing anything here. Arms can spin 360 with both arms, right there. If you look over here, he has a, I guess, bicep swivel here, 360 with no hindrance. Double jointed elbow, you can see that right here. You see both peg points. Might be easier to see it right there. 2 joints on the elbow, like the way it looks. Wrist will spin 360, and it is hinged as well. Now, for you people who may not be Green Lantern fans, Sinestro does not wear his ring on his right hand. He wears it on his left hand. As such, they have sculpted his ring in, just like Hal Jordan's ring. I don't know if it will show up really well on camera. Hopefully it shows up. They didn't put a blotch of paint there. There is detail. They did put some detail into it. Take a look at it real quick. Yeah, it is sculpted with the Sinestro Corps logo. It may not come across really well right there. Just focus. Perfect shot right there. Looks really good. They did a very good job to have the kind of Sinestro Corps emblem going around his bicep. This is painted on. Does not come off. It's not removable. If you're asking, is this removable? It's just stylized and painted on. I'm happy they did not forget that. That's very, very important. Very cool that they did that. Let's move the arms away from the figure. We'll make him do a little crunch here. One thing about this arm right here, he's in this weird clawed pose, which we'll talk about that in a second. Very similar to, let's say, the Hal Jordan one, where he has that weird open hand grip. So as Hal has an open hand grip, Sinestro has a clawed hand right there as well. So they kind of kept it similar for the open grip versus the clawed hand, meaning him being a villain and all makes sense. Now, if we move the arms up here, if we look down at the chest, the great symbol of the Sinestro Corps symbol right there looks really, really good. Does he have a chest, an ab crunch? He does have an ab crunch. Again, love the ab crunch. The first time I've used this ab crunch, you can see, listen to it real quick to the mic. You can hear it. You can hear it crunching in. Hopefully you can hear it. There it is. So it does have an ab crunch here. There are pins through the chest here, which allows this level of movement here. Now, the only issue I'm seeing so far for the chest is, I don't know if it's mine, and this could be a quality control problem right here, but it looks like it's not lined up 100%. You can see it really from the back. It looks like it's either, this joint is it might be cut wrong right here. You can see it from this side right there. It looks like there's too much material on this side right here as opposed to this side. So it might be a quality control issue. I'm not 100% sure. If you have this figure, please let me know in the comments if you have this problem as well. Going down, of course, he does spin 360 at the waist with no issue. Again, you're going to have that weird cut, as I talked about on most action figures, when you don't have them lined up properly, especially more with him, since he has this kind of point going down near his crotch area, going down, pointing down. The chevron symbol going down, if you move it, it looks out of whack. I would keep the figure in this sort of orientation to display it. Moving down to the legs, you can get a nice kick, something like this. The legs will spin, just like the Hal Jordan figure, 360 at the thigh. You have a double jointed knee. Again, right there's the pegs. You can see it right there. You get a real good level of articulation. This one, you do have a boot cut swivel at the, I guess, lower leg. Again, you have style points here where it's stylized. If you spin it this way, it will look weird. It doesn't line up properly if you have his leg in a different orientation. Just because the way it's styled, here, I'll move the leg down so you can see it. It's cut with the back right here, so if you do something like that, it will look a little funny. So just be aware that if you're trying to pose these figures, try to keep it in a static pose that's represented by the costume itself. If you start going into weird poses, it might not look proper. Going down to the ankles, he will spin 360, and there is a hinge joint at the foot here. Now, I did notice pulling him out of packaging, this leg here, which is the right leg to me, left leg to you, this joint here had to be retwisted back into position. It was off. It was not correct. it was spun in the wrong orientation. I had to spin it around to make it work. But again, really, really cool design for Sinestro. Love the way he looks. Now let's talk about my biggest complaint of the figure. Next to the neck here, and that weird quality control problem right here, I would say lack of accessories. Much like Hal Jordan is right here, we do not have any accessories with this guy. Why DC Essential, DC Direct decided to go no accessories, I don't know. You would think you would give him a Yellow Lantern battery, which would make the most sense. They would have to retool his hand so he can hold it. Why he has it, no accessories, I don't know. I guess it was cost-cutting measures. They wanted to save the money for where the reasons. You could probably snag another power battery from one of your Mattel figures, one of your other Sinestro figures to put with him. That's the road I would go if you're wanting to pose him with a battery. That would be the idea I would do for you. But this figure looks really good as a whole. Again, shortcomings because this neck, the weird clawed hand, no accessories, and that quality control issue right here to me, I don't know what's going on there. It just looks weird. If you look at the Hal Jordan one, compare it, we don't really see that problem right here with the Hal Jordan figure. Focus, right, there we go. You don't see that problem with the back of the figure compared to the Sinestro figure here. Let's bring him in as well. So you see both figures, both backs of both figures. You don't see that sort of problem. So I don't know if this is with all the Sinestro figures or just this one as a whole. Last point before we go to final thoughts, I just wanted you to see them, that they fit in the same scale. They look good side by side. I would, if you buy one, buy the other, I would say, just to have it as companion pieces, because they both look really, really good. High level articulation and detail. Again, no accessories is really unheard of in this day and age. Why I decided to go that road, I don't know. With that being said, let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. All right, guys, final thoughts on the DC Essentials 7-inch Yellow Lantern Sinestro figure. Would you buy this figure, or should you rather buy this figure? It all depends. Are you a Green Lantern fan? Are you a Sinestro fan? Are you a fan of villains for DC Comics? This might be one of the better Sinestro figures. Again, why it's coming across yellow on camera as opposed to being the coppery color that I have in hand, that is a bit of a misnomer. I don't know why it's like that. Just happens to be the way I'm recording it. Again, great head sculpt here, great design, good amount of articulation coming from DC Direct, DC Essentials. That coming from them, they're really known to have really poor articulation. This figure and of course the Hal Jordan companion piece both have really, really, really good articulation. If you buy this figure, I definitely recommend buying the Hal Jordan one to go with it, go side by side. You need, of course, the good guy and his antithesis, his basically his rival, his arch enemy, which of course is Hal Sinestro here. Again, the biggest problem we had was the neck right there, that quality control issue with the weird cut in the back. I don't know why it's cut that way. Maybe it can be fixed or adjusted. I don't know. It looks a bit weird to me. Again, I'm not sure the reason why we have this weird, the way it's right here. Again, it feels to be a quality control issue more than anything else. And again, lack of accessories is a big problem. People have mentioned, again, in the Nightfall video that I've seen a lot of people do Nightfall reviews of the DC Essentials Nightfall figure for Batman, issues with these, with the feet, with the feet joints here. Mine aren't really that bad. I've played around with the Green Lantern one for a little bit. I have it leaning against a shadow box, so I have it up top on my computer. So it's not having a whole lot of problem, but I'm going to put both of them side by side, sort of a little pose between both figures. It is a good figure. Is it the best or the quintessential masterpiece figure for Sinestro? I'm not 100% sure. Mattel ones are really, really good, and most of the time you get accessories with them, and they're really spot on with articulation. If you're looking for a good alternative, if you don't have a Sinestro figure, this might be up your alley, but the price tag is very high. I bought this figure for $28 US. It was not a cheap figure. I'm too happy they did not go cheap with the paint here. They gave us a really cool sculpted ring. So again, that was a really good point. I give them kudos for that. I do hope you liked this video review of Doll Sinestro 7-inch, part of the DC Essential line. Remember to click the like button at the bottom page. Click the subscribe button with a picture of my face. When you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to be notified of my latest videos. And of course, last but not least, you click Windows over here to watch more of my content. Take care, guys. See you next video. And bye-bye.